out to have important information that we want to release to the community this afternoon concerning an arrest that was made involving a gentleman who was preying on some young people in our community. In just a couple of moments, I'm going to introduce Lieutenant Tom Barry with Special Victims. He's going to go over this case, just a horrible case, and kind of give you a snapshot of what he and his folks have been looking at for, I guess, the recent, last couple of weeks. I know that you saw the release and know what's coming next, but the thing that really struck me after speaking with Lieutenant Barry is the way with which this individual went about preying on these children, nothing short of disgraceful. Apparently singling out single moms, this individual knowing that they're in vulnerable positions, having so much to do by themselves and just how distracted they are. And there is definitely an MO to this individual that Lieutenant Barry could explain a little bit more articulately than I can. When he's through, we'll go ahead, we'll open it up to questions, and Lieutenant Barry will do his best to get those questions answered. So without further delay, Lieutenant Barry.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. The Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department Special Victims Division has a special unit, and that unit is a Crimes Against Children unit. And they specifically work cases that involve abuse of our children in our community. They're very good at it. They have a lot of good external partners. First, Pat's Place, the District Attorney's Office, and especially our friends at Department of Social Services, who are a big part of our team. It's a multidisciplinary team and do great work collectively. First and foremost, this case brings to light a need to reach out to the community anytime that our children, the most vulnerable in our community, are preyed upon or abused. And we're reaching out to the community specifically for this case to see if there's any more or additional victims out there. So that the parents of these children come forward. And that's coupled with the opportunity to listen to your children. That's point number 2. And most succinctly is that ability for us as parents, I'm a parent as well, is when as parents we listen to our children and they communicate to us so subtly but so poignantly. And we don't want to miss that opportunity or miss the message that they're trying to deliver to us about their health and well-being when they're in the care of somebody else. So that was number 2. And number 3 is, one thing we're learning this summer is the care of our children during the summertime. So what we'll do is we'll just briefly mention the importance of, as parents, to vet the caretakers, whether that's an individual or a professional business, the care in which you put your child during the summer months. We know it's very difficult to find child care when school's out, but we will be partners with you to help you in that struggle if that is a struggle for you. We have a lot of community partners that help us do that. And most importantly, as the state regulates child care. So that was point number 3. So what we have today is the arrest of a man who was taking care of children during the summer. His employment is with the Charlotte-Mecklenburg school system. On his own accord, established a child care or summer camp specifically for young boys. The camp was called Gentlemen Understanding Destiny by Overcoming Your Statistics. And the acronym was Good Boys, GUDBOYS. And through, it's really important to understand that the abuse of children in this particular case, the charges are indecent liberties with a child and indecent liberties with a student. And the relationship of the teacher and the child is that which we're talking about today, and how that can easily be manipulated and gaining the trust. So it's important as parents, the parents are out there, the caretakers, to listen to their kids and see the warning signs. So at this time, if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
What's the suspect's name?
Suspect's name, forgive me. I'm going to have that for you in just a minute.
And his age and all
Yeah, well, that should be in the media release. I apologize. I don't have
That'll
the,
be coming out as soon as we wrap here.
I don't have that release in front of me. I thought I did. I apologize.
Has he charged with assault too?
I'm sorry?
Is he charged with assault
Yeah, well,
too?
there was a previous charge that we had for assault
Relating
on a
to
child.
summer camp
Correct.
children?
Correct.
How many kids in the summer camp?
At this time, we're aware of 7 to 8, but we're still in the process of the investigation to identify the numbers accurately, and that's why it's most important to communicate with the community to say, okay, this is the gentleman we have arrested. We need to hear from other community members that not be so-called registered with him or we're not aware of.
Do you believe all 7 to 8 were victims?
We're still investigating it right now. We have 2 victims that we were able to bring charges about. We have 4 counts for different charges.
How long was your camp in operation? Just this summer, or has it been around?
We're still looking at all the details of that, but what we're aware of is right now was the summer camp this year
Where's the camp located?
at his home.
You guys have any, I mean, we've kind of been down this road before, but in terms of, parents allowing their kids to spend the night with teachers, where do you guys sort of come down on that?
Yeah, I think as a police department, we're governed by state law. And state law is very specific about how we treat children. And as a community, as a society, how we want to talk about that is kind of beyond my ability to speak to that, Glenn. It's a great question.
Let me ask you this way then. You, i.e. Tom Berry.
Sure.
And your kids, what would you be?
Well, some would say I'm an overprotective father, so family is where it's at for me. But understanding society and the constraints of single parents and the inability to kind of keep kids in school all year, I mean, that's a question for society to talk about and help a community at large to kind of be partners in raising in children, because society is a lot different than it was 100 years ago. So we have to kind of adjust to that.
I'm sorry. I don't know if you feel comfortable in addressing this, but in the African American community, there's a big push in terms of men being involved in kids' lives, and it seems as though this guy used that for his own purposes. Can you?
Well, what I will speak to is there are many different facets in which we manipulate and gain the trust of children. And when we talk about the abuse of children, the sexual abuse of children, the physical abuse of children, what we're speaking to is that manipulation, that ability to form a bond with that child and then manipulate that trust. And what we see in our society is that we don't see stranger abductions. What we're seeing is people they know, people they trust, people they love. And that's our concern.
Well, Lieutenant, you talked about the vetting, and we know there are all these programs you can do with different agencies and all of that. But as that parent who may not be well resourced, you're looking at your kid's teacher who's involved with after-school mentoring, who's running the summer camp. I mean, talk
Right.
about vetting. They think that's great what he was doing, and who wouldn't? Who would you rather have your kids with?
Yeah, and it's really important to check with the school system to verify the teacher's ability to do that and what the rules are, what the policies are. Really important to work hand in hand with your school. Our schools in Charlotte-Mecklenburg have a tremendous support for parents beyond the teacher relationship. The guidance counselors, the administration, they play a large part in all those different programs, so they would be the best resource to help parents navigate the difficulties of finding summer camps and after-school tutoring. They're the first stop.
Is this a spend-the-night camp or a day camp?
This was an overnight camp.
Do you know how he was recruiting students to come?
Again, it goes back to manipulation and taking advantage of people who are trusting and need the help. And that's what we see today.
Can you
What
talk
school
about?
did the suspect teach at?
This was Billings, let me get this right, Billingsville Elementary School, located at Skyland Avenue, 124 Skyland Avenue.
Can you kind of lay out when did you guys kind of learn this, and how long do you anticipate this has been going on and that sort of?
Well, it's right now we're still in the middle of the investigation. We have enough information to bring about the charges. But, we've had a team on this for 2 weeks solid, and today we were able to effect his arrest. And we're very pleased with the work that our detectives have done nonstop over the last 2 weeks.
You mentioned how important it is for parents to listen to their kids, and I'm just wondering, in this particular case, was there any of that where the kids may have kind of thrown some weak hints or whatever toward the parents?
No,
and
this-
they didn't pick up on it right
Yeah.
away?
No, I think it's kind of like getting old school, and when you have an opportunity to break bread or have a meal with your child, and you have that pre-existing communication relationship, what we're asking for as a society is to keep that up, because the child wants to be able to tell you what's going on in their life, and this is yet another example of how we have built a case to build probable cause, to bring a case to the district attorney based on a child disclosing what's going on in their life because of that relationship with their parent or their guardian. And this, folks, seriously is courageous of that child to bring that information to their parent. And that's what we're trying to promote today, is to foster that relationship.
Was the school or CMS aware of the camp he was running?
I'm sorry, I don't have the information about what the school knew at this time. I don't personally have that. The detectives might. We could follow up on that.
A lot of stuff was taken, a lot of stuff was taken from his house. How do the laptops work in?
Yeah, what we do is we're very thorough, and our probable cause revolves around the data that we can collect. And computers are a good tool for that. And I can't really go into the specifics of what was collected. You can find that on return of the search warrant. But what we're looking for is paper trail, pictures, things that will further our investigation.
And with that, we're going to let the lieutenant get back to
Thank you so much.
Anything that's looming, guys, that
Just point of
Lieutenant did talk?
clarification, were all of the students elementary school aged?
I believe they were 10 and 11 years old. They were both boys.
And y'all are not looking at anything at the school?
I would say that everything's on the table, Sharon. Yeah, I don't think we're foolish enough to believe that these are the only 2 victims out there, and these guys are going through and doing a thorough investigation, trying to determine whether or not anyone else was victimized there. I think the bigger reason why we got together today, and the overarching message for getting together today, was letting the community know that, look, if you had a child who attended this tutoring program, you feel like your child may have been victimized, you have some information concerning these other cases, please, I mean, we can't say it strongly enough or underscore it enough that, we need to hear from the community. We need for them to reach out. Our men and women in investigations, they can't follow up and run down any leads if they're not coming in. And anything that we could do to generate some kind of information, additional information, in this case, would just be tremendous. That is just critically important. Just to underscore also what the lieutenant said, vetting who these people are before you send your children off to these camps, these programs. It's just so important, and to a lot of the points that were made here today, you'd like to think that you can have the trust of a teacher, that a teacher is trustworthy, but in this day and age, you have to really show due diligence, do all the homework, do that vetting, and make sure that everything's on the up and up before you go ahead and you send your children to these kind of places.
Was this a summer-long program, or was it just?
Don't know how long the program ran. I don't think it was specific to summer. It's my understanding that it may have gone beyond summer and before summer, and we can go ahead and follow up with detectives to try to identify how long it went. 704-334-1600, that's the number to Crime Stoppers. Can't tell you how important it is for people to go ahead. They could do it anonymously. Again, we don't need to know who you are. If you're not comfortable doing that, call 911, and you better believe that they'll follow up on any and every lead that they get. I assure you. Are we good? All right, Jessica Wallen, Officer Wallen, she'll be sending out a press release in just a little bit with some of those specifics that you asked about: his name, date of birth, his address, where the tutoring program was situated, where it was located, what school he was employed with CMS, and any other blanks that potentially need to be filled in. They'll probably be filled in through that press release.
It's the same name that's in the warrant, right?
I'm sorry, Glenn.
It's the same name that's in the warrant, right?
I believe the last name was Brown.
Brown, Taj Brown.
I don't know the first name, but I know it'll be referenced in the press release. All right, anything else? Thank you, guys.